Hey there, welcome to the channel. So today I want to take a look at non-cooperation. All right, so just take a quick look at Bitcoin here. Kind of sold off 3% today. You kind of see that this thing, I don't know, man, a little bit kind of consolidation drop, another consolidation working its way down for another drop is what I'm guessing. Uh, So nothing really positive going on there. So let's take a look at some news here. We go to CNBC here. So now it's being reported on CNBC that the co-founders of failed crypto hedge fund Three Arrows appeared to be on the run from creditors, according to documents filed in the court. So lawyers representing creditors say the physical whereabouts of these two, Zhu Su and Kyle Davies, are unknown. They did not respond to requests for comment. Okay, so this is Three Arrows, which is this crypto hedge fund that's had 10 billion apparently in assets, and they're basically their Terra USD coin collapsed and everything, and they're basically in restructuring right now. But one of the things that's going on is it sounds like they may not be cooperating. So, according to Friday's court filing, they are saying that they did participate in an introductory Zoom call, but neither founder turned on the video, etc. And their lawyers said that they intended to cooperate at that time, but they didn't. Obviously, the lawyers did all the communication. But when the fund's liquidators arrived at Three Arrow in Singapore, they attempted to meet the founders, but the offices appeared vacant. Filing notes that the office door was locked, et cetera, et cetera. Now, this other company has been brought in to help with that at all. But what's going on here is, let's see, they are concerned that the risk is heightened because of a substantial portion of the debtor's assets are comprised of cash and digital assets, such as cryptocurrency and NFTs, which are readily transferable. So you can see what's happening is that the people in charge of the bankruptcy, the creditors, they're getting concerned that, hey, what assets are there? Where are these assets? And they're concerned with the fact they want to make sure that these assets disappear. So they're asking the court, I believe is what they're saying in here. On a Friday filing, they're requesting the court to suspend Three Arrow Capital's right to transfer or dispose of assets. Okay, so this is very typical because and it's interesting that it sounds like, at least they're saying here, that the leaders of the company, the co-owners or whatever, are maybe not cooperating. Now, see, here's the problem, because what happens with these type of bankruptcies is the first thing is like, okay, whatever, like creditors owed $10 billion. Okay, so now we're going into liquidation. So first thing, have to stop the company from disposing of any assets. And that means anything. So first of all, they have to prevent the company from transferring assets to any of the owners of the company. This is a very common thing. For example, in one of the the fraud that I unfortunately was defrauded on. One of the things that happened is one of the ladies that was running the companies that were basically fraud, was giving her sons like lots of presents, like cars, paying for condos for them and all this stuff. So what happened at that time is the bankruptcy court, now that it was a little different because that was in conjunction with an FCC investigation in and it would be the FBI fraud division. And so basically they were like going in and they were seizing assets. So basically her kids, they were seizing their condos, seizing their cars, seizing all their personal property because these were ill-gotten gains. Now, the question is going to be, if these owners are, or let's call them the founders of, that's right, they're saying founders. So the founders of Three Arrows, if they're not cooperating, you start to wonder like, is there some fraud there? Is there possibly some fraud there? And as of the point where they filed or started having trouble, every single transaction is going to be gone over. If there was any transfers of NFTs, crypto, cash, anything that were done, these transfers may actually, in fact, could be fraudulent. Now, this is speculation, but the point is, when you get in a situation like this, these founders, they're in deep trouble. They know they're in deep trouble. The next shoe to drop is actual fraud investigations. So here, I'm guessing SEC type investigation. Maybe if there's missing assets, then try to get the FBI involved to investigate this financial fraud. So that's where it looks like it's going. So, but this is an extra dimension here, because it's one thing if they just cooperate, but if they maybe aren't cooperating completely, it's making it worse. Now, the interesting thing they're talking about here, Voyager Digital filed for Chapter 11, and they're trying to get the 670 million that Three Arrows bought. Well, forget about it. I mean, they're not going to get it back. I mean, first of all, they can't get it back till it's resolved. They're just a creditor like everyone else. They're just a creditor, not unless they had debt or some other senior notes. But I don't. It doesn't look like they did. They're not saying they are. So that I found that really interesting, because I think that is the next shoe to drop in this crypto issue. The next shoe to drop is that I find it, and I'm speculating here, so I'm not accusing. I'm just speculating that I would not be surprised if there's at least fraud investigations that are going to take a bunch of time, and that I wouldn't be surprised if they found some fraud. And, basically you can imagine that, there's a magnifying glass on everyone involved in these companies that are declaring bankruptcies, in which, hundreds of thousands of people have their money is lost. There's going to be, they're going to look at everything. And so if you've made any mistakes, any bad judgment, and if you actually did some actually like fraudulent stuff, yeah, they're going to come and get you. Because at this point, you're not bankers. You're these little guy companies that have lots of big money floating around you. So they're not going to protect you. I mean, at some point, they're just going to come if they can find and file charges. I would expect that would happen. So that's what I view as the next shoe to drop. And what I would say is that, some of these companies have had fines from the SEC and have paid. You can look up, and some of these companies have had to pay significant multi-million-dollar fines for behaviors, right? And so they disagree, and they maybe their marketing was too aggressive or whatever it is, and they just agreed to like, okay, we won't do that anymore, blah blah blah, and they pay a big fine, and they don't admit guilt, kind of a thing. But now it's going to get very different, because the money's gone. The class action lawsuits, the lawsuits are flinging around. And, it's a very interesting thing, because if you look at what's happening with this company, like Three Arrows, like they should not be, like all the founders, C-suite, they should be not getting any paychecks at this point. They should not be getting anything. And at this point, I mean, it's almost like their personal accounts may very well need to be frozen. So if there's any transfers, any NFTs, any crypto that's being transferred between their personal accounts and the company accounts, that could just be like a really bad situation. So hopefully that's not the case. I would assume that even if you were the most ethical founder of a company like this, and your whole thing has gone to crap, that, yeah, you wouldn't really be thrilled to cooperate after you're just getting the crap kicked out of you all the time. So hopefully that ends up being the case. Hopefully it doesn't turn into the fact that there was something else going on, but I wouldn't be surprised. All right. So I think that's it for this one. Talk to you later. Bye.